Hello. I've been trying to set up iNav on this Teksumo wing, and I don't think I'll be using it a whole lot. All I wanted to do for now is just basic gyro stabilization, not even angle mode or a GPS, nothing like that. And even that I can't seem to do. I've been on this for about 5 hours now, and it's just one problem after another. And I've finally come up against something that I just cannot figure out. I almost cannot believe what I'm seeing. So I thought I'd make a little video to show you, and partially in the hopes that somebody might have an answer, and also partially just to show somebody that I'm not totally going crazy when I tell them about this later without showing them a video. So to sum up the problem as quickly as possible, the ESC does not understand the PWM signal coming from the flight controller, but it does understand the signal coming from the receiver normally. Obviously, this is what I've been using to fly in the last few days. But here's the thing, it's the same signal, exactly the same, as I'll show you on the scope in a minute. It just seems to be that if the receiver starts up using the signal from the flight controller, it's just messed up. But if I temporarily take the signal pin from here and put it onto the receiver's signal and then move it back, it's okay. So hopefully from that brief description, somebody out there will have thought to themselves, oh, I know what that is, and they'll be heading to the comments to type the answer out for me right now. But for the rest of us, I will just demonstrate that because it's quite hard to believe, isn't it? So let's just clear this wiring up a little. It's about to start raining, so the rain on the roof might be a little bit loud, but hopefully you can still hear me. So receiver is here, and this is channel 3, which is throttle on the receiver, and it's currently connected to nothing. And this wire is the motor control from the flight controller. There's a flight controller board there, and I have it going into this set of jumper wires just so that I could cut a little piece of those wires away and attach the oscilloscope connectors there to ground and signal. So I'll start it up, and this will be starting up using the flight controller signal. So we can see the signal coming up there. Oh, there's a little bump there which I haven't seen before, that's interesting. But the signal is the correct PWM signal. So let's just zoom in on that a bit perhaps. So this is 3.3 volts high, and at first I thought maybe it needs to be 5 volts, but it doesn't seem to be, because the receiver is only putting out 3.3 volt high signal anyway. It's 20 milliseconds between pulses, and each pulse is about, well, it's one millisecond here because it's zero throttle. So this signal is perfectly fine. So I'll just put that back to there, and just keep an eye on the signal in the background. And I'm just going to take the signal pin here. This is weird too, like maybe there's some bad connection inside the ESC, maybe, I don't know, but sometimes when I touch it, that beeping speeds up or slows down or stops. So I'm taking the signal away from the flight controller and I'm putting it into the receiver, and it's fine. Oh, so it would be, well, it will be fine when I turn this on. Now it's ready to go, and I can use this just fine. Now the weird thing is, if I just put that back where it was, oh, so the signal coming from the receiver is exactly the same. 100% exactly the same signal. Oh, and it does have that little bump on there occasionally too, whatever that was. Seems to be gone now. But it's 20 milliseconds between pulses, 3.3 volts high, and each pulse is, well, it'll be, 1 millisecond for zero throttle. So it's exactly the same signal. Weird, huh? Now the weirdest part is when we put that signal back where it came from on the flight controller, we don't get that weird beep, 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 beep going on anymore. And now the flight controller has control of the motor, so it won't do anything without being armed, so I'll just arm it. I don't have a beeper on here, but the LED was flashing, so... And now I can spin the motor. Disarm. Does nothing. So you can see that this time the flight controller was in control. So it just seems to be like if the ESC starts up, using the flight controller signal doesn't work. So let me start it up. I'll just do it again, basically. So starting using the flight controller signal. Now, the only difference that I can think of is that when it starts up, the signal doesn't appear for a while. If you notice right at the beginning, it takes a few seconds for the flight controller to initialize, and right at the beginning there's nothing. And then it shows up. Then we get this funny beeping. Take it away from there, and I'll put it into the normal receiver signal just for a moment. Bring it back. And now we should be good to go. Weird, huh? I'll just do it one more time, but this time I'll start it up using the normal PWM from the receiver. And we'll see that right from the beginning. Well, actually, let me watch these signals. I haven't checked this myself, but I think when you start it up using the normal receiver, the PWM signal shows up a lot quicker. Yeah, it's almost immediate. Is that the problem? Quicker. Is it a problem if the ESC starts up for a bit with no signal coming in on the PWM signal wire? But even if it was, what is the difference between when I disconnect this signal? Ah, well, now it'll be okay. Yeah, now it's all right. Yeah. Oh man, this is weird. It's the same signal. I'm going to do this one more time before I sign off, just to make sure I'm not going absolutely crazy. I can repeat it. It's 100% repeatable. So, signal is on flight controller. Slow to start up. But when it shows up, it's exactly the same signal as we get from... Oh, just to show you that I can't actually do anything at this point. Like, the flight controller has no control of the motor. And if I just briefly put it into normal receiver, same signal. Motor shuts up, now it's ready to use. Put it back in here, same signal that we had before. Motor is still quiet, everything's fine, and we can use it. So that's 3 times that I've showed you, probably more than I needed to, but... Anyway, if anybody has any clues about what the fuck is going on here, let me know. See ya.